Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, a movie that I actually highly anticipated and was a bit let down when it was released into theaters for only a week, and I didn't have a chance to go because I couldn't find it playing near me. And finally got around to watching it, and my enjoyment started at a high. I was really liking what was going on. And then about halfway through, it slowly started dipping down in quality for me. It felt like it felt like you were going to a show, and then halfway through, it revealed that it was a magic show all the time, and it just came from out of nowhere. And when the magic happened, it was like, okay, I get it, but I was never set up for it. And overall, it was funny, and that's can be a good thing, but it got to be a little bit too funny, and the characters all seemed like caricatures and just did not feel realistic hardly whatsoever. When Benoit Blanc is your least crazy character out of all of them, then that combined with the movie being too funny ended up making feel like nothing was at stake. And when a murder actually does happen, you're like, oh, okay, finally the movie seems to get going for a 2 hour and 20 minute runtime. This is truly one of those movies that I feel at least 20 minutes could have been cut out of it. And I can find that 20 minutes pretty easily too. A little bit at the beginning, a lot in the second and third act. I think for the people who are willing to praise this at such a high rate, especially in Rotten Tomatoes, where both the critic and audience scores are above 90%, I think they have to accept dumb characters, and which allows the screenwriter to forego any plot holes in the movie. And trust me, it's kind of hard to say if they're plot holes or not because you can argue them as not being plot holes, but it's just when a writer writes himself into a corner and then just comes in with that let's make the character dumb so that way it cannot be a plot hole type of device, which is, for anyone who writes screenplays, knows that one of the hardest thing about writing screenplays is making things work, making things believable. And if something does not work, trying to figure out your way around it. And it seems like that thinking was left off the script. Whereas in the first movie, it was not so much that way. It felt much more natural. My biggest complaint about the movie was the third act, and especially the ending. It really felt way too contrived. There's certain movies out there that kind of makes me angry at the ending. It seems like all of a sudden things fly off the rails and characters do things that is just really stupid or just makes no sense for them. And the biggest thing is when there's a whole bunch of money at the end of a movie and a character decides to destroy the money or something like that. And you're just sitting there with your face in your hands just wondering, why? This would never, ever happen. No way in real life would $5 million be destroyed by someone just because. No money's destroyed in this movie, sort of. But it gave you that feeling at the end. And just really left me with a sour taste in my mouth at the very end of the movie, which was going from like a high 10 all the way down to a low 7 for me. Kind of, I mean, I still enjoyed myself, but I had so many issues with the movie that it's really hard for me to go above a 7. I don't want to go below, but that's just the way it is. And as far as the positives go, I mean, obviously, if I give it a 7 out of 10, I do have to have positives. The first thing was when they titled the movie Glass Onion, and it was not with the subtitle of a Knives Out mystery. That was refreshing to see. I think they marketed it that way to try and get the audience from the first movie, which I don't think is necessary. I think audiences are smart enough to realize that if they market it as a Benoit Blanc mystery, or just say it's Daniel Craig in this new Benoit Blanc movie directed by Rian Johnson, or let the movie stand on its own merit. So at least the title of the movie got it correct. the clothing and the outfits and the costumes, especially for Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc, I highly enjoyed. Seeing him in James Bond movies and wanting to replicate his style in those movies makes me really enjoy to be able to try and replicate his style in this movie. Overall, I enjoyed for the most part all the acting. There's a lot of great things about it. The production design, but that's about it. I mean, that's where it stops, because everything else was just started to fall apart too much for me to really be able to think about too many of the positives in the end, because there's some major negatives that brings it down. So I would recommend this. I do think it's a good movie. I don't know if it's worthy of a purchase. For me, it's worthy of maybe a 4K purchase when I find it cheap, because I could watch at least the first hour and a half and maybe stop it after that and be fine with it. And maybe there's a special feature that says how we can replicate some of the clothing styles in this movie, and that'd be worth the price of admission alone. But if anyone agrees with me, please let me know. What did you think of this movie compared to the first one? Was it better, the same, worse, like I felt? Definitely let me know. I look forward to seeing some comments and responding to people. And I got some more stuff on the way. Got my top 10 of the year completed, which I was waiting on this movie to watch before I was able to finish my top 10. But, well, this makes it easy. I don't have to include it in that. But that'll be coming up soon. But thanks for watching, and have a good day.